Ajana, I am innocent. And I know my dead mother was innocent and never harmed anybody. If you say you are a God of justice and vindication, let your thunder strike down and kill anybody that has caused me undeserving pain since I was a child. Long ago, in the small town of Anando, in the beautiful state of Anambra, Nigeria, there lived a very beautiful, young, very hardworking little girl called Adama. Adama was born into a very happy family, and she grew up to learn resilience and hard work from her mom. Her parents, Chizoba and Ugo, were a very admirable couple. In fact, their bond was like a rope, unbreakable and really strong. They achieved a lot together as partners. Chizoba is someone you would refer to as a Proverbs 31 woman because she portrayed a very noble character. She was very kind, hardworking, and really accommodating. Adama grew up to learn these noble qualities from her mom. She watched how Chizoba would wake up very early every day to prepare sumptuous meals for their lunch before heading out with her husband Ugo, while also backing Adama effortlessly to their farm. She would help Ugo till and harvest the land as the season demanded. Adama as a baby would lay down by the side of the farm, watching her parents have joyful conversations as they worked on their land. During harvesting seasons, they would proceed to the Nkwo market with their bountiful products to make sales. In fact, because they were extra nice people, the villagers loved patronizing them, and they would always sell out every day. Life was in fact good. One of Chizoba's customers, Chioma, who had patronized her on many occasions, was slowly becoming friends with her. They would hold long, interesting conversations when Chioma came to buy foodstuffs from Chizoba. Their conversations will vary from Isompi, a very interesting village event that held every 3 months. They would talk about Igwe's parties. They would discuss weather. In fact, they would talk about any and everything that came to mind. They were good friends. On one of their conversations, Chioma requested that Chizoba invite her to her house so that she can get to know where she lived. Chizoba did not hesitate to invite Chioma over to her house during the weekend so that it would further strengthen their bond of friendship. In fact, she had good intentions for their friendship. However, Chioma, who wasn't so lucky to have gotten married early as Chizoba, was so envious of what Chizoba had. She wished she was Chizoba as she longed for the warm embrace of a man in the cold of the night and the beautiful smile of a baby in her arms. She nurtured this envy in her heart and did so well in hiding it as she set out to plot. On that very bright and beautiful Sunday that Chioma was supposed to visit, the birds of the air flew around singing melodious songs, and the wind blew chilled air on the skin of Anando villagers. It was a family tradition in Chizoba's household to make special delicacies on Sundays. Also, bearing in mind that her friend would be visiting her on that day, Chizoba gladly woke up very early as usual and set out to make a special delicacy called Ofaku. This is a soup that is made from palm fruits. It requires due processes and it is considered a special dish that speaks volumes of love. She ensured to use different types of fishes and meats, ranging from smoked fish to dried fish to goat meat and chicken. She finished it off by adding a very scented leaf that she got from her farm. The sweet aroma of Ofaku filled the entire neighborhood when Chizoba finished up her cooking. She served her husband and baby the soup, pairing it with some hot steamed white rice. They were enjoying the meal peacefully when they heard "Bam, bam, bam." "That must be Chioma," Chizoba said. She jumped with obvious happiness and joy as she went to welcome her friend. She embraced her, beaming with smiles. "Neno, oh," she said. "Hope this place wasn't too far for you to locate," she further questioned Chioma. "Oh, not at all. In fact, I followed the aroma of that sweet ofako," Chioma joked as she followed Chizoba into the room where her husband and baby were eating. They had a great time that day, gisting, laughing, talking about different beautiful things. Ugo enjoyed every part of the conversation as well. They were all happy. In no time, it was evening and Chioma started to pretentiously make moves to leave, but Chizoba wasn't having it. She suggested that Chioma slept over as it was already late in the evening. Chioma wasted no time at all in accepting this proposal, as she found it as the perfect time to execute her pre-planned mission. Prior to her visit, Chioma's envy couldn't let her sleep. She proceeded to visit an oracle to bring down her supposed friend Chizoba by all means. She went ahead to tell the Dibia that she needed something that would make someone very ill. The Dibia gave her a potion and instructed her on how to use the potion appropriately. According to him, a drop of the potion would make the person ill for a few days, while 2 drops will make her ill for at least 2 weeks. Anything more than 2 drops would kill the person. If not immediately, then eventually. Chioma thanked the Dibia and left. Now, the perfect time has shown itself for her to act. She offered to help Chizoba in preparing a quick dinner for everyone. Chizoba planned to cook jim manu, a very simple yet very delicious and interesting delicacy. They spent time in the kitchen, gisting and laughing while cooking. In no time, food was ready, and Chizoba dished out food for Chioma. However, as she was about to dish her husband's food together with hers, Chioma immediately suggested that she dished for her husband separately from hers so that they would spend more time in the kitchen talking about female-related gists. And so, Chizoba accepted with no suspicion at all. She, however, excused herself to go serve her husband and her 3-year-old daughter and left immediately. On seeing her, Ugo smiled and started calling his wife sweet names. "Hey, Omalicha Wanyi, Achalugum, Isichago, Dalu," he praised. However, he couldn't help but ask his wife why she wasn't going to be eating with him as per usual. Chizoba smiled and pecked him on the head while explaining that she would be eating in the kitchen with her friend so that they would have some time to have girly conversations. Ugo laughed and said, "Omowanyi, your gossip never ends." He proceeds to carry Adama and tells Chizoba that he would help feed her so that she could have as much time as she wanted to with her friend. Chizoba beamed with smiles as she pecked her daughter on the head, thanked Ugo, and left for the kitchen. Unknown to her, Chioma had hurriedly infused some drops of the potion in Chizoba's food. In her hurry, she didn't realize she had added up to 4 drops of the potion instead of at most 2, since she claimed she wanted to just make her ill. On seeing Chizoba back in the kitchen, Chioma hailed her cooking again, saying she would love to learn how she whipped up irresistible delicacies so easily. Chizoba laughed it off and sat down to eat. They both enjoyed their meal while gisting about different interesting topics as usual. The next morning, the usual bustling Chizoba that would always wake up early to cook and clean was feeling so weak that she could not do any of those. She, however, managed to bid her friend goodbye as Chioma proposed to head out. That day, Chizoba could not do anything. In fact, she couldn't get out of bed. Her husband, Ugo, was quite worried and wondered what the cause of this sudden illness could be. He refused to go to the farm that day and insisted on taking care of his wife. Adamma, their daughter, was also worried, and she cried and cried. At around past noon, Chizoba was not getting any better. Ugo quickly sent out a message to his mother, Ako, to come and help him take care of his child and wife while he goes in search of a healer. In no time, his mother, Ako, arrived, and he proceeded to go in search of a well-known healer in Anando called Agowany. On arrival, Agowany examined Chizoba's body carefully and shook her head sadly. She called Ugo to the corner of the house and said, "Your wife's chi is so strong. She has been battling and fighting for her life for a while now. She shouldn't even be alive as I'm speaking to you." She went ahead to explain that Chizoba's condition was as good as dead, but her spirit god was still fighting and was not willing to let go just yet. Ugo was perplexed. In fact, he could not move for over 15 minutes. He literally froze up. He didn't know what to feel or do. He was in absolute shock. When he was finally able to speak again, he asked Agowany, "But what is the cause of this strange illness?" he inquired. The healer explained that she could not really tell, as it was strange to her as well. All she knew was that Chizoba was fighting so hard to stay alive for him and their child, but she was getting weaker and weaker as time passed. Ugo and Adamma broke down weeping uncontrollably while Ako, his mother, consoled them. The next day, Chioma ran to Chizoba's house, pretending to care. She claimed she had come to check on her friend who wasn't feeling so good the previous day when she left. She pretentiously screamed when she was taken to Chizoba. "Hey, the gods of our land, please show mercy," she cried. She offered to clean Chizoba up and do some chores in the house before leaving. Ako, Ugo's mother, was so impressed as such a good friend. Chioma kept coming from time to time to clean and do some other chores around Chizoba's house. However, Ugo did not allow her to cook, as that responsibility was only given to his mother, Ako. After so much struggle, Chizoba gave up the ghost. The burial rites came and went. It was a very tough time for Ugo and Adamma. They cried every night, wishing that Chizoba was still alive. Months passed, and this act of Chioma's pretentious kindness continued. She was pretty consistent. She would come 4 times every week to clean, wash, and tidy Ugo's home. And soon, Ugo and Adamma started growing fond of her. She would buy some akia for Adamma on most of her visits, and Adamma would be very happy. Ako, Ugo's mother, who was now in fact living with Ugo, kept observing Chioma closely and praised how much of a good girl she was. A year later, and this act of Chioma did not stop. In fact, She offered to help Ugo out in his farm, but he refused, saying that it would only remind him of when Chizoba, his dead wife, was always going to the farm with him. It was a tradition of Anando for a man to take another wife 6 months after his wife's passing, if he pleased. But that thought never crossed Ugo's mind until his mother started chipping the ideas to him. One evening, when Ugo was having his dinner and resting after the day's work, Ako walked up to him and sat down. "My son," she began, "you are a man, and I know you have needs. Adamma is only 4 and needs a motherly care in her life. It is time to look into marrying another wife." Ugo knew this was true, but found it very difficult to come to terms with. He stood up and stormed off into his room, not looking back. After 1 month of constant persuasion from his mother, Ugo finally decided to indulge his mother in that particular conversation. "Assuming I am to even consider this, Mama, where would I find someone like Chizoba?" Ugo asked his mother. Excited to finally hear some positive response from his son, Mama said carefully, "Nnam, you do not even have to look far. The answer is close enough. It is just for you to open your eyes and see that the gods have already blessed you." Ugo was rather confused, but decided to keep calm. He thought deeply about what his mother meant. And then he asked, "Who is close enough to me to be my wife, Mama?" Ako further explained that Chioma was a good fit for him, and she has shown consistently that she cares for him and Adamma, and that Adamma had grown fond of her. "Haba, Mama," Ugo exclaimed. He was too reluctant to this idea. He says Chizoba would not approve of him marrying her friend after her. But Mama had many strong points to back her opinions up. After much push, Ugo stormed off again, fed up with the whole conversation. His mother, Ako, smiled, knowing that she had sown a seed that would soon germinate. That night, Ugo couldn't sleep. He was more bothered that his mother was making sense, and he was starting to see things more clearly. He cried as the thought of replacing his wife broke his heart so much. Ako heard his groans and quietly went into his room and held him like she normally would when he was a child. She consoled him and told him that he wouldn't be replacing Chizoba at all, but would only be doing Adamma a favor because she needed a mother, and she, Ako, would not live with them forever. Ugo came to terms with this suggestion and decided to make his decision known to Chioma the next time she came. In 2 days' time, Chioma came as usual and did some chores. When she was done, Ugo invited her to the farm with him. She was surprised and couldn't hide her excitement. On their way to the farm, Ugo proposed to her and asked her to marry him. Chioma could not contain her happiness. She jumped for joy, and almost immediately she accepted. After the marriage rites were completed, Chioma moved into Ugo's home, but Ugo gave her a separate room from his, saying that he would visit her room when he needed to. She wasn't happy about this arrangement, but she accepted anyway. Soon enough, Ako, Ugo's mother, left for her own house, leaving the new couple to enjoy their married life. Chioma did not hesitate to make herself the madam of the house. She would appear so innocent and sweet in Ugo's presence and do otherwise when he wasn't there. She does not wake up early as Chizoba used to prepare food for her husband, and she most certainly did not go to farm with him every day. She would give one excuse or the other about not feeling too strong or having cramps or whatever lie that came to mind that day. When Ugo goes to the farm, Chioma turns around to maltreat Adamma. She suddenly changed from the sweet auntie Adamma once knew and loved to the wicked stepmother she dreaded being left alone with. Chioma would make 4-year-old Adamma fetch firewood, sweep the mbara, fetch water, and wash her own clothes. She even threatened to deny if Adamma ever mentioned any of this to her father. Ugo had noticed on several occasions that Adamma was becoming moody all the time. He has even caught her crying on some occasions, but all efforts to make her tell him what the matter was futile. When he pressured harder, she would respond by telling him that she only missed her mom. 2 months down the line, Chioma drugged Ugo